The door creaked in a familiar way when Sara pushed it open. The dust in the air was not just something to see. It felt heavy in her chest. She stood at the door for a long time, like she was asking if it was okay to go in. This cottage was hers now. It was Grandma's cottage, her inheritance. But it was more than papers or money. It was made of wood, smells, memories, and summers from the past. All those things came back the moment she stepped inside. The first breath of the air inside felt like a message. It smelled a little like dried chamomile, smoke from the old chimney, and sweet baked things. That warm, safe smell was still there after all these years. Sara closed her eyes. She felt like a little child again, sitting on Grandma's lap in the kitchen, swinging her legs, and waiting to lick the leftover dough from the bowl. Then she remembered something very clearly. It was Grandma's macaroni soup, a simple and sweet meal, made from cooked pasta, milk, and a little sugar. The soup tasted warm and safe. It made the world feel easier. When it rained outside, and her socks were wet, Grandma brought the pot to the table and said, "Here's a little soup. It will warm you up." Sara put her backpack on the floor. She walked slowly through the rooms, like she was reading a map made of childhood. Every object had a story. A jug on the cupboard reminded her of summer mornings and fresh milk. In the nightstand drawer, there was still a small stone she had given Grandma for good luck. On the wall next to the kitchen window was an old clock. It had ticked through all her childhood. Now it was quiet. It had stopped maybe at the exact time Grandma had closed the door for the last time. On the floor, under the table, there was still a small metal bowl. It had a name carved into the bottom. Tilly. That was Grandma's cat. Tilly was old and smart. Her fur was soft like moss. Her eyes always looked a little amused. Sara bent down and touched the bowl. It was cold and empty, but it felt like it still held a memory. Outside, at the edge of the yard, there was a small, leaning doghouse. It had sunk a bit into the ground, but the roof was still strong. Above the door, there was a wooden sign. Grandma had burned the name Poppy into it. Poppy was the yard dog. He was loyal and curious. He barked a lot, but he calmed down when Sara petted him. The doghouse was empty now, but Sara could see Poppy in her mind, his head poking out. Even though the straws on the barn floor were dusty, Sara could still imagine the clucking of chickens, the flapping of wings, and the bleating of sheeps. Grandma had always had animals, and when Sara was a child, she believed they talked to each other at night like humans do. Now she only believed that some sounds stay in the air, even after the source is gone. She remembered the meadow behind the cottage, near the edge of the forest. In summer, it waved green like a calm sea. That's where Grandma's sheep used to graze. Grey and white, quiet and curious. The meadow was full of daisies and clover, and grasshoppers made soft music in the air, like a hidden orchestra. Grandma often walked there with her straw hat tilted on her head, swinging her walking stick and speaking gently to the sheep, like they were old friends. Sara would run barefoot the grass, tickling her ankles. It was the safest place in the world, full of peace, summer warmth, and quiet joy.